on the cloud. Dun, 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 dun. Welcome to Advanced Toastmasters Online. And I can't turn the slide. Hold on. This is quite an interesting. Okay, well, here we are. Advanced Toastmasters Online. Welcome to our meeting. You can use a headset if you need to, or earbuds, reminding you to mute your mic when you're not speaking. Left-hand corner of the screen. You can toggle your video on and off if you leave your seat. That's appropriate time to do that. Also, if you would like to switch between views, this is what you see here is called a gallery view. And if you want to go into the speaker view, you click on speaker view where you only see the active speaker. I control it on my end just by having whoever is speaking with their mics not muted will be recorded. If you have notes for the speaker, do that through the chat function, which is right there. And reminding everyone to do that in between speeches, and please don't chat with the whole group while there's a speaker speaking. It's kind of distracting, but the timer will send those messages also to the speaker through chat only. We'll tell you about that in a little bit. Our policy is that by participating in our meeting, you agree that there will be a recording, and you'll be able to see that on YouTube, on our website, and possibly on other social media sites. If you'd like to learn more about becoming a member, you start here where it says become a member. And you'll find all the information that you need about our application and the fees for joining our club. And at this time, I'd like to say, put the gavel down and say, welcome to Advanced Toastmasters Online. Doug, you've got the gavel, do it. Hit it. Yay, all right, awesome. And our mission of our particular club is we are an advanced Toastmasters club, which supports Maverick leaders to have more impact by providing advanced feedback on leadership skills and discovering what it means to be out-of-the-box, innovative leaders. And today's theme is the webs we weave. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen and getting back to us as a group. This theme was inspired by Anne, and I'm not sure if she remembers that suggestion, but here we are. And today's is Halloween, so happy Halloween. I'm attempting to be very bewitching today. And I don't think our speaker is here yet. Is that correct?
That seems correct.
So we have an agenda, which is here, and I'll post that link, or if somebody can post that link in the chat, that would be great to all of us. And what I am going to suggest that we do, thank you, Doug. Andrea, do you have a?
If you need a speaker, I have a speech written, so I can fill in if you need me to.
Awesome, I think that would be great. What I would like to do, or what I'd propose to do, is that we can start with the table topics first this meeting, if that's okay with everyone. And then if Mark doesn't show up, we can go straight into having Andrea take his place as a speaker. And Kelly, you'll have to, figure the evaluation out. At this time, though, I'd like to introduce our grammarian for the day, and that's Trisha Grow. Trisha, tell us a little bit about what you'll be doing as the grammarian.
Yes, I am your grammarian, so that means I'll be listening for ahs, ums, or whatever word that you tend to use for your pause word. They should just be quiet and pause while you're gathering your thoughts, as well as your use of your English language, both good and poor uses, and it's my responsibility to share a word of the day. In lieu of our theme for today, I am choosing gossamer. It's a noun, and it means it's a fine, filmy substance consisting of cobwebs spun by small spiders, or somewhat like the veil on Don's hat would be gossamery, as you could say. And to use it in a sentence, sometimes one scarcely dared breathe for the fear of blowing away the gossamer thread of sound. Back to you.
Very poetic, and thank you very much. Next, to introduce our timer for the day, and that's Andrea.
I am the
Andrea,
timer today.
Could you
Yes.
let us know?
Thank you. I will be using my iPod today, and I can't make the colors come up until the actual time, but they will show green when you've met your minimum, yellow when you need to start wrapping up, and red that says you should be done and you have just a few more seconds to finish. Obviously, with our table topics, that's 1 minute, 1 minute 30 seconds, and at 2 minutes. For our speeches, prepared speeches today, it's 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and 7 minutes. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you. And Andrea, when you are, if you do happen to speak, I can time you.
Thank you.
For your time. And since our speaker has not arrived yet, I would like to start with our table topics. And our table topic master today is Doug Thiessen. And please help me welcome Doug as our table topics master.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Welcome to Halloween. Naturally, for this day, I wanted to present some horror scenarios with appropriate Halloween-type monsters and situations. But of course, we are mavericks, so there's going to be a twist. And when you're presented with your scenario, I want you to tell us how this is a really good thing. And I would like to start with the first topic relating to our theme of webs. Because descending from the trees and all around on gossamer threads is a horde of giant spiders dropping down to surround and attack you. To tell us why this is a good thing, who would like to volunteer? Angela.
Thank you, Mr. Topics Master. I used to hate spiders, and they have big legs, they're creepy, they're crawly, they just kind of give you that willy shake. But this crowd of spiders that's about to descend on me, I realized is actually going to save my life. Why, you ask? Because there's a mosquito, and it's gonna bite me. But spiders eat mosquitoes. So the horde of spiders that I think was coming after me is actually after that little tiny mosquito on my hand. It's going to eat the mosquito so the mosquito won't bite me and therefore save my life. Because I'm actually more terrified of mosquitoes than I am spiders. I get bit by a mosquito and I swell up. I swear it gets this big, it's red, it's infected, it's awful. Spiders don't seem so scary when you look at mosquito bites. So that horde of spiders descending from the tree seems really scary. But once I realize it's not going to attack me, it's going to attack that mosquito, it's all good. Mr. Topics Master.
Thank you, Angela, for showing us how the spiders can save you from that vicious, awful mosquito. Next, you're out, you're wandering about, and you see emerging from underneath the ground. The ground is rippling and bubbling everywhere, and bodies are crawling up out of the ground as a horde of zombies emerges to track you down. Dawn, tell us why this is good.
Thank you, Doug, for asking me this question, posing why is it good that there is a horde of zombies tracking me down? Well, I will tell you why it's good. It is excellent because I've always wanted to star in a horror movie where I was being tracked down by zombies. And this is my life's greatest pleasure and joy to actually have this happening because I know they're not real. It's a big Hollywood production, and I'm the one who's the star of the show, the Jamie Lee Curtis of this Halloween. And I am being tracked down by zombies. And the thrill of it all is such a good thing, not only because it's Halloween, but because my dreams are being fulfilled. And I get to do the thing that I've always wanted to do. Back to you, Doug.
Thank you, Dawn, for telling us about the zombie attack. Now, the next topic I'd actually saved for Rick Weiner, but unfortunately he's not here, so someone else gets to have the pleasure of addressing this one. Because you've been turned into a werewolf. So tell us about the situation that you've been turned into a werewolf and why this is good. Kelly.
I'm not surprised. So I've just been turned into a werewolf. But what's really great about this is I know where the serum is that allows me to turn myself into a werewolf at will. I don't want to reveal my cover, but the FBI has actually just acquired me because they can use me as a werewolf to go into certain situations and figure out the crimes that people have done. And if I don't change back quickly enough, then things happen, but they're not such great people. So they're a little less worried about the collateral damage in this situation. And we're getting the serum better and better and better to where we can do this at will. I don't know if you've ever seen a werewolf. I haven't, but I can only imagine it would be one heck of a Halloween costume. So now that I have a job at the FBI and I'm undercover and capable of doing these things, it's kind of cool to be a werewolf. Back to you.
Thank you, Kelly, for telling us about becoming a werewolf. We have a couple of topics left. For the next one, King Kong, in all his gigantic glory, has shown up and is wreaking havoc on the town. He's climbing the tallest building in your city and causing all sorts of chaos. Trisha, please tell us why this is a good thing.
King Kong has climbed up the Empire State's building because, you know, they rebuilt it from the last time he went up there. And I was called in by a special team because of my unique ability to tell stories. I climb up the elevator all the way up to the top floor, to the very top floor of the observation deck. And I start telling King Kong his favorite bedtime story. It's Hello Moon. Hello Moon. How are you doing today? I don't know the actual story, but I read it over and over again, and his eyes start to flutter shut. He starts climbing down a very large structure till he finally reaches the ground and curls up in a great big ball and snoozes away. And they gently take him to the new exhibit where you can go see him today. Back to you.
Oh, thank you, Trisha. What a great idea to tell King Kong a bedtime story. And for our final topic, we have Andrea. Andrea, you discover that tracking you down and chasing you down is not only Count Dracula, but also the Mummy. They're both coming for you. Please tell us how this is a good thing. Andrea.
Thank you. It is a great thing because I love King Tut. I absolutely love King Tut. And he is coming to visit me finally after all these years of admiring him. I especially love his gold mask, and I'm thinking that maybe I might like to steal that mask when he shows up, because I can definitely use some extra income in my life. That would be kind of fun. So I am looking forward to him showing up, and maybe Count Dracula could do something nefarious to take him out of the scene so I don't have to even bother with him or really have a discussion with him, since I'm going to take some of his wonderful treasures for my own. I especially like that cat sphinxy thing that he has too. That's kind of fun, and it fits with our topic for today, the creepy crawly stuff that gets in our way. Back to you, Mr. Topics Master.
Oh, thank you, Andrea, for describing how you would steal all the treasures from King Tut. I was actually picturing when I came up with that topic that somehow they would start doing the tango together. This brings us to the conclusion of our table topics for today. So back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Doug. Wonderful table topics. And just for the record, I really have never aspired to be a horror movie person or even an actress at all. So, but my daughter, on the other hand, it's more her story. Clear, so you don't think you know something about me. It's not true. As Mavericks, we can embellish. At this time, I think we're going to go ahead and go on to the speaking portion of our meeting. And I am looking to see if Andrea has sent me an introduction, which I don't see one, but that's okay. I'll let her introduce herself. And do you know what speech you're doing?
I am. I'm going to do project 3 out of storytelling. And I do have an introduction, so we're all good with that. So
okay, awesome. So
let me go ahead and start.
And how long is your speech?
5 to 7.
Got it. And please help me welcome Andrea.
Today, my speech is the moral of the story, and it's project 3 out of storytelling. And the executive summary for that is every story should offer some lesson or insight. into life and human nature. Use stories with lessons to illustrate points in your own speech. You can quote stories of others or make up your own. A story with a lesson or a moral should have a simple plot, simple characters, and the topic should be something with which people are familiar. The story should have an unexpected and somewhat humorous conclusion. To understand, the objective then is to understand that the story can be entertaining yet display moral value, create a new story that offers a lesson or moral, and tell the story using skills developed in the previous lessons. So today, I'm working on, obviously, Storytelling Project 3, the moral of the story. The objective of the speech, I've told you, it's 5 to 7 minutes long. Her story is based on Aesop's fable, The Mischievous Dog, and the adventures of her childhood pet. In listening to this story, you might want to fault her family for not being responsible pet owners. But if you had met her dog, you would understand the dichotomy of loving a dog who provided security and comfort when in the house while having to deal with his desire to explore the great wide world on his own. The title of the speech is A Dog Named Kirby. There once was a dog named Kirby. No, not the vacuum cleaner or the video game, but he was or a confident rock star. He was a brown and black Welsh Terrier. Like many terriers, he got bored easily, always looking for something to do, something new to run after. Since he was bred to hunt badgers and other small rodents, he was an excellent digger, but he liked to run, and run some more. One day, he was sitting on the couch, just out of the sight of the front door, when he heard his girl getting ready to go out. He thought to himself, I'd love to go for a run, and if I plan it just right, I can bolt out that front door and go for an exploration. As this little girl finished putting on her coat, opening the door, and preparing to open the screen door, bam! Out the door he ran. He hit the door with the perfect force just to make it out the door before she could grab him and throw him back into the house to make it out. He was off for his run, and he could hear her screaming, Kirby, come back here! But he turned with a mischievous little grin. Try to catch me, as she reached for his collar and just missed him. Off he ran, and the chase was on. His first stop for his little adventure for the day was going to be the two standard poodles' house. He loved talking to the standard poodles. Oh, it was so much fun. He ran by them and woof, woof, woof. Are you there? Do you want to play? Come, let's play. The poodles came to the window, the great big front window, the one that filled the entire front room. But they couldn't really see him very well because there were really pretty shears on that window. Woof, woof, they said back. We'd like to come and play. He said, well then come out and play. Of course, they thought they could dig through that front window right to him. But no, those shears and everything associated with them came crashing down on those poor dogs' head. Even though they were supposed to be the second smartest animals in the animal kingdom, clearly they were not. And he found great humor in it when he did that to them. Off he went to the next place. He thought, oh, maybe I should go and see Suzette. Yes, ooh la la, she is so cute. So off he ran, yet again, another poodle. Oh, he liked those poodles. They were so much fun. Suzette was outside, very cute, prancing around her front yard. And of course, he thought he'd get some, he's a dog, all right. He walked up to her and, how are you? Can we go for a jog together? Yes, it would be so much fun. yes, 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 but he did not get the response that he expected. She froze in a catatonic fit. She couldn't move. She was so terrified of him. He was such an obnoxious, dirty little animal. Her pet owner came out with his newspaper, ready to smack the life out of that dog. Off Kirby tore to the next adventure. Actually, he thought, maybe I should go home. It might be a little safer there. So he started jogging back toward home. But with his keen sense of smell, he smelled a snack on the run. And he saw a little boy running with his little snack in his hand. And he thought, I might like that snack. So he ran up to the little boy with snarly teeth, looking very mean and cantankerous. And he barked at the little boy. The little boy screamed and dropped his snack. Of course, Kirby got exactly what he wanted, a great snack for the afternoon run. He gobbled it all down and then decided, now that I've had enough to eat, I think I'll go home and take a nap. Yes, indeed, Kirby ran on home, scratched through the door, and got himself let back in the house. Nobody knew quite what had happened until much later that he had gotten through all of that. Yes, this is a story about my real dog, and he really did do those things. And we were known in the neighborhood as the worst pet owners that could be imagined. This is a story of a mischievous pet. Notoriety is not always fame, and fame is not always fame. It can be boredom choked in bad behavior. Back to you. It's yours.
Oh, why, thank you. I was just so wrapped up in your story that I just lost myself. Ah, how wonderful. Okay, at this time, I think we can go on to our evaluation portion of our meeting. And our general evaluator for today is Angela. So I'm going to ask Angela to unmute herself and to bring in this last and final portion of our meeting, the evaluation portion, and lead the evaluation. So help me welcome Angela.
Great. Thank you, Dawn. Our evaluator today is Kelly. Kelly, are you ready? I know it's kind of hard to give an evaluation right after you hear a speech, but I'd like to welcome our evaluator.
Thank you. So I am so thrilled that I was present for this story from Andrea. Andrea did a dog named Kirby. Now, when Andrea brought that to us, she used some of the skills that she had in the first two storytelling projects. And what was amazing to me, and I could go on with 100 things that were amazing, I'm going to pull up the objectives. First objective was to understand that a story can be entertaining yet display moral values. Hello, that was an entirely entertaining story. Second one was to create a new story that offers a lesson or moral. I thought this was Lady and the Tramp about halfway through. And what a twist to get to the end of this and find out that it was actual situation for her with her dogs and the ownership title of worst pet owners in the neighborhood. I want to highlight, and there's a third objective, to tell a story using the skills developed in the previous two projects. I don't know what those projects were. I pulled this up just last second to find the storytelling project 3. But I can tell you that if those storytelling aspects include an outstanding ability to use facial expressions, tone, hand gestures, to allow the entire body to tell a story, then we're looking at exactly what would have come prior to this project. So I think the 3 objectives were hit so well that my only challenge with this speech is what to offer. And I'm not usually short of words. So I just want to reiterate that twist, which was something we were looking for at the end, that this is a real story, that was an amazing way to pull this together. And the way that the story was being told, just step by step by step on a full body level, I was so engaged. So here's my only thing. Sometimes there's such a thing called a circadian rhythm we're probably all familiar with. And the reason why we have a circadian rhythm is we want to go as low as we can into deep sleep and as high as we can into high activity. I think the same applies here. I have nothing to offer you, but I can suggest maybe look at that. Like take us even lower on lows and even higher on highs, because that roller coaster would make this even better. Like just take us down even with your voice. Take us up. And again, I'm stretching because what you just did was amazing. So I thank you. And I think because I'm in an advanced club, I think I open this up to others as well. Is that the kind of protocol? Okay, great. I'm opening it. And hi, Mark. So who would like to share something else with Andrea?
I can start.
Please.
Andrea, first, thank you for stepping in and giving us or telling us your story. As Kelly mentioned, your facial expressions were fabulous. I thought that was one of the high points of your speech. The one suggestion I would have is that at times I felt like your voices could have been a little bit more distinct. We could tell that you were changing your voice, but it could have been a little bit more. And a little bit more would have just made a great thing better. And that's the only suggestion I have. Great job.
Thank you. Who else? Please.
Andrea, I just wanted to echo, I thought it was such a well done story. You had us all enthralled. And considering I don't think that you actually had practiced this, you said you had just written it. So that even amazes me more that you were able to give that well of a presentation, considering you hadn't even practiced it. So that just shows what a storyteller you are. And I can't think of anything else other than what Kelly said, is maybe play a little bit more with your voice, but it really was perfect the way you did it.
Excellent. Thank you. Who else? Please.
Andrea, I had a great time listening to the speech, and you are so expressive in your face and your voice. That was really well done. I just have to mention that when I was a little kid, my parents' dog was named Kirby, so I thought that was kind of fun. But in terms of something to think about, I want to just offer you one particular word that you chose to use, and I'll ask you a question. Do you really think dogs can go catatonic?
Nice.
Yes, and in fact, this dog did. She actually had to go to the vet to get a shot to unfreeze herself, and we had to pay for it.
Wow. Anyway, just a fun little thing. Great job.
Anyone else? More feedback?
Yeah, I've got a couple of 2 cents to add. Andrea, I feel like I got to know you through this speech because I feel like you were doing your thing that you do naturally the easiest, and this was fantastic to see you tell a story so expressively. And if there is any at all suggestions, there was one point where you said he ran away, and I would have loved to have seen like the hands on the screen, like maybe doing this. Just something to add. I mean, I don't know that you were very deliberate with your hand movements and keeping them in the screen, which I thought was even a good example for all of us. I think that was what I wanted to share with you. I loved when you said, he's a dog, all right. My favorite part of that, because, you know, you're giving him a personality on a lot of different levels. And my screen freezes up on this end. So when you were talking about how the dog freezes, you actually froze. So I think it was like your energy of telling this story, you totally made my screen freeze up. And there you were, catatonic on my screen. So very good energy transference, Andrea. And I just appreciate how you can reach through the screen and make us feel happy or excited and share your story with us. Back to you, Kelly.
Thank you. And what a tangled gossamer we have woven. So I believe now I hand it back to you, Angela. Is that everybody who has? Okay, great. Back to you.
Yes, thank you, Kelly. And I am going to ask Dawn and Mark for feedback at this point. I believe Mark was scheduled as a speaker. Do we want to go ahead with the second speech?
If Mark is ready and able and willing, I think that would be great. Mark?
I'm unmuting myself. I am ready. Thank you very much. I apologize for this time discrepancy. I know that the U.S. has switched. Now
with that,
Who's going to evaluate Mark?
I can evaluate him unless Trisha or someone else would like to do that. I can evaluate him. I can evaluate you, Mark. I have your evaluation.
Excellent. So. And the intro, do you have that or not?
I do. I might need a second to pull it up though, but let me grab that. And
Mark, I'm the timer, so I will hold up my iPod.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's a 5 to 7 minute speech.
Okay, perfect. So at this time, if you would indulge us, I would like to introduce Mark Worthy, and he is giving us a speech today from the Effective Coaching Manual from his Pathways, from level 3 of Pathways, called Elective Inspire Your Audience. This is a 5 to 7 minutes. The topic of his speech is critical leadership analysis. So at this point, please help me welcome Mark Worthy for his speech, Critical Leadership Analysis.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. A subtitle for this speech is When Bright Leaders Become Difficult Jerks. Not all leaders are the same, especially with regard to their rhetoric and the degree of involvement that they prefer. There are as many leaders and leadership styles as there are personalities. While extremely beneficial for the entity that they grow, they can be and prove to be some of the most difficult, especially if they trample on people's emotions in the interest of obtaining results. However, there's one type that is remarkably brilliant, charismatic, and driven. That is what I will address in the next few minutes. And my goal is that you can derive benefit from my analysis. Everyone loves a self-starter. Everyone loves a person who takes initiative. It's extremely important But toxic leaders can be seen as bullies, schemers, untrustworthy, and insensitive. Simply put, they're jerks that often leave a trail of undermined, demoralized, and disempowered members. Think about it. Are you dealing with a difficult leader? Does she have destructive behaviors and dysfunctional personal characteristics that generate poisonous effects on those they lead? Is there drastic turnover, an increase in absenteeism, and more stress-related illness among the subordinates? Does he or she pit people against each other and create an atmosphere found around speaking up? If you've answered yes to any of the above questions, you're dealing with a destructive, commanding presence. We have people with charisma. I won't go through the list because that's a matter of establishing who you prefer. 80 years ago, there was a gentleman who was extremely charismatic. However, his goal was such that I don't use him in my public speaking classes. It just upsets people. But these domineering, also King, not everyone supported King. So it depends on where you are in your ethos. Domineering leaders have proved they can deliver results in the short term or even medium term, perhaps offering business solutions that nobody actually understood or thought was achievable. Brilliant but abrasive leaders are a liability for any organization. They may achieve results. Their cost outweighs their benefit. When not managed properly, these leaders cause suffering in the workplace and are a detriment to the organization's long-term success. Although with any behavior, there's usually an underlying cause that triggers it. An extensive body of research details that the effects these leaders have on their subordinates. But what motivates these difficult leaders and how they might be steered toward more positive ways of interacting is less well understood. Can anything be done to sustain productivity but change the abrasive leadership style? Can such a person transform from a jerk into a strong, effective leader? Now understand, whether you are an executive coach, a human resources professional, a manager, or a member of a team, there are resources available to you to help you with more difficult leaders and effectively engage. The key is to remember there's a complex process at work in these leaders' minds. Once you tap into that motivation, you will feel more empowered to forge a stronger relationship, a positive encounter, and an enhanced professional life. I close with the quote from Bill George: "The hardest person you have to ever lead is yourself. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Mark. I'm glad that you were able to join us and share your wisdom about leadership and difficult leaders today. And I'm going to kind of switch gears again and give this back, volley it back to Angela so she can lead me in evaluating you, because I think that's fun.
Okay.
Angela.
All right. I'm going to keep it short and sweet and welcome our second evaluator today, Dawn, evaluating Mark's speech.
Thanks, Angela. That was a little formality, but I thought that was appropriate, and I liked seeing your smiling face, Angela, so that's awesome. Mark, I'm going to give you your written evaluation based on the objectives of this speech at a later time. At this time, what I want to do is just share with you my immediate response, my immediate feeling, and how I connected personally with the speech, and maybe offer a few words of, not advice, but words that you can muddle over and see if you would like to take them or not. I'm going to try to do this in the third person because that's my biggest challenge. So during Mark's speech, I love learning about Mark's expertise as a leadership educator. And when he brings in, what he brings to all of his speeches is some well-researched information that he's sharing with us that can be helpful. And I appreciate that. I also would like to know sometimes, is this based on your own personal research, Mark, or is this based on somebody else's research that you are just sharing or repackaging for us in a new way? I personally would like to know that, because I want to know who you are a little bit more. And I want to know, I know you are highly educated, but I want to know, what does that mean for us? And possibly in a bigger sense of the bigger sense of what we're doing here is, do I have somebody who might benefit from your wisdom and knowledge outside of Toastmasters? And we're in Toastmasters, and we know that lots of people like to proliferate other people's information. I just want to know if you're doing that, or if this is your original thoughts. I thought it was pretty brilliant. The other thing that I wanted to kind of just highlight is that Mark is giving a speech based on his expertise and knowledge. So he has the privilege, I guess, of being a teacher in front of a classroom. And in this 12 by 12, or it's not even 12 by 12, but whatever our screen size is, there's an opportunity for him to connect with us a little bit more. And it's still hard to do that. And one of the things I was thinking of is maybe to help you, like maybe if you could write something down on a Post-it note. My internet connection's gonna wait for it. Yeah, so maybe possibly write something down on a Post-it note, or a couple of points that you might be able to just pull up. If you don't want to do slides, you could actually pull something up like leader. And here are some signs I'd find toxic leaders. And then here's how you might deal with a toxic leader. Possibly, not that it has to be that way, but I think for you, because you're kind of on the go a lot, it would be very easy for you to, I believe it's possible, it could be easy for you to bring Post-it notes or index cards to share just a couple of points, to give us something more within this frame than just your smiling face. I'm doing not a great job of the third person, however. So the other thing I wanted to offer or suggest is that I think you had a really great, Mark has a very great understanding of what he's sharing, but even framing it a little bit to let us know what you're going to tell us about will help it break up these points and give us more clarity of like what brilliance was just packed into this 5 to 7 minute speech. Because you're giving us a lot of information, but not quite framing it up with, this is the important part of this. And you made a couple of really important points that identifying toxic leaders and discovering what motivates them. I think that's super important for people when they're dealing with these difficult leaders. I know this from my work. If you know what somebody wants and you help them get what they want, they become so less toxic. You become a salve, right, to their toxicity. And magic, like magic, and you make their world easier so they don't have to act out so difficult, they don't have to be such a jerk if they know somebody gets them. I would challenge you possibly, Mark, to even give us an example of how to actually find their motivations. And with that, I think I will turn it back over to Angela. Or I'm going to actually open the line so anyone else who wants to join in and give Mark some feedback can offer some feedback. Kelly.
Hi, Mark. I'm Kelly. I'm new to our club. Great speech, and in an area that where my expertise is as well. I love what you shared. I think that's fantastic information, and I almost want to see it bookended with like a couple of really short stories. One on the front end that's like 30 seconds that, you walk into the, you walk into the break room and blah, 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 and you just 30 seconds, you actually put us there. And then at the end, they've accumulated this ability to have boundaries and to actually have this other person experience what he or she is looking for, and then you tell a 30-second story. So we've actually been transported. Instead of just getting information, it's kind of like taking us on the magic carpet ride. Thank you.
Andrea, go ahead.
I want to really encourage Mark in a couple of things, and mine are very visual, actually. One of them is I actually love his background and how he placed the angles of his shoulder to match those squares behind him and how well that was framed out. My artistic side of me says, yay, that is awesome. The other one is that you did a really good job of using your fingers and counting off the different things you're going to do. And you did it within frame, and you used both hands to do that. And I just really appreciated that. Thank you.
Mark, I'll add my comments. I thought you definitely presented some interesting information that shows definitely your expertise in the subject. I want to challenge you to do more in vocal variety, because really this came across as a lesson that I just wasn't getting terribly engaged with, because you weren't showing in your voice an excitement for the topic that I think would have really helped to bring me into it and help me listen more and absorb the information more. So I challenge you to work on enthusiasm in your presentations, but definitely good information. Thanks.
And Mark, I have just a couple things. I loved the subtitle of your speech. I would have liked to have seen something other than a subtitle for this speech is. I think you could have used that subtitle and played up the word jerk to grab our attention a little bit better. I loved your word choice throughout the speech. You had some great words in there. Toxic, dysfunctional, poisonous. The one thing I felt was missing was a little bit of a positive spin. I left your speech feeling really negative. And I think, like Kelly said, if you maybe bookended it with stories, that would have helped pull in, yes, these toxic people are out there, but it's not the end of the world. There is a way to work with them. So, great information. Thank you.
Trisha, did you have anything to add before I turn it back over to Angela?
Other members have already brought up the points that I thought of. The only thing that I didn't was mentioned is, although I do appreciate the cool special visual effect of the blocks over Mark's shoulder, which I agree I really liked, but the way he was looking at the camera seemed like he was looking off to the side of the screen for most of his speaking to us. So that's the only thing I noticed, is that I just missed a little bit more of the eye contact from Mark, but that's the only thing that no one else seemed to have mentioned yet.
Wonderful. Thank you, Trisha. And back to you, Angela.
Thank you, Dawn. Andrea, can we get a timer's report, please?
You can, but I forgot to time the evaluator, so I'm really sorry about that. So let's start with the table topics. Angela, yours was 1 minute and 21 seconds. Dawn, yours was 1 minute and 9 seconds. Kelly, 1 minute and 12 seconds. Trisha, 1 minute and 22 seconds. Mine was 1 minute and 12 seconds, I think. My speech was 6 minutes and 47 seconds. Mark's, yours was 6 minutes, 19 seconds. I don't know what the evaluators were. However, the last round robin was a little over 4 minutes, which is right in our time frame. So that works. Thank you. Back to you.
Right. Thank you, Andrea. Trisha, can we get a counter grammarian report, please?
Yes, I will begin with the counter. This is a very challenging club to be an counter for. I don't hear very many. I did catch just a few. Doug, I actually caught cause. So instead of because, you just said cause. 1 and 1 Kelly, 1 so and 3 ums. That's all I caught all for our whole meeting. So I thought everyone did an excellent job. As the grammarian, we had Doug and Kelly both use the word of the day, gossamer, so good job. I also caught a few really just excellent uses of the English language. Andrea said dichotomy, catatonic, just really picturesque words. I really appreciated those. Mark, throughout his speech, gave many very descriptive words, ethos, poisonous, and so on and so forth. I've stopped writing them because there are just so many wonderful examples of just rich descriptive, so I knew exactly what point you're trying to make. Those are the prime examples that I wrote down. So I didn't catch anything other than that. Back to you.
Thank you, Trisha. For an overall evaluation of our meeting, I thought we had another great meeting. We had, can write down that our times for everything was absolutely perfect, which is a great accomplishment, I thought. It was a great theme, a great word of the day. I love the costumes, very appropriate for Halloween. I thought we had 2 aspects of our meeting today that were exceptional. The first was the evaluations. I thought we got really great feedback for our speakers today. When we have speakers that are as talented and as accomplished as we have in our club, it is hard to give feedback. And I thought they got a very good blend of positives, you did this great, and yet we were able to give each of them something to take away and something to, like I told Andrea, make something good even better. The other thing that we did very well today was table topics. Doug, those were awesome questions, and every single one of the answers, except for possibly mine, was very good. Great flexibility done as Toastmasters, switching to table topics first. We worked with what we had and we got everything done and made it another great meeting. So with that, I will turn it back over to our Toastmaster.
Thank you. And I really appreciate the fact that, Mark, you came in our meeting and rejoined us at whatever time. I think that sometimes we have to just come in when we can and do what we can do. And I think there was a timing issue. Like, our time doesn't change until after this weekend. So that might have been, so Monday it'll be different. But right now we are still as it was before. I'm going to share the screen at this time. What was that, Mark?
No, I was just saying that it's been very hectic. New Zealand changed 2 weeks ago. Mexico, northern Mexico changes this weekend, and the southern part changes in 2 weeks. I don't know what time it is anywhere. Okay.
Yeah, awesome. Which is why I went ahead and sent the
I appreciate that
email.
very much. Because I was just sitting. I was reviewing the speech. So I got your message, and that's what helped tremendously.